So, what is DNA? Before diving into the details of DNA profiling, it's important to understand what DNA is. Each person has a unique DNA, an acronym that stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, the essential building block of the body cells. DNA is made up of 4 chemical bases: the adenine, guanine, cytosine, and the thymine. How does DNA bases are sequenced and organized? In an organism, genome, a kind of genetic blueprint, provides cells with the information needed to build an organism. So, each cell in the body has a nucleus, an inner core, which hold the chromosomes. DNA molecules make up these chromosomes. The chromosomes contains markers, points that repeat short DNA sequence again and again. Just how many times a sequence repeats at each marker varies depending on the person. Every person has 2 copies called alleles of each marker, one from the mother's side and another for the father's side. Forensic scientists can use so-called short tandem repeats or STRs of DNA to identify individuals. How to produce a DNA fingerprint isolation? Separate the DNA from the other tissues. Fragmentations. Use an enzyme to break the DNA into short lengths. Separation. Pass an electric current across a layer of gel which has the DNA fragments at one end. The fragments will move different distance across the gel. This is called gel electrophoresis. Comparison. Match the pattern of fragments on the gel with other samples of DNA. So the DNA is found left at the scene of a crime. It is found in the blood, skin, and even hair. Once the DNA has been isolated from the victim, and if suspects have been identified, then DNA profiling can be useful in placing a suspect at the scene of the crime.
Good day, sir. Today I will discuss what is DNA profiling, what are the steps or the procedures of conducting a DNA profiling, and also the example types of DNA profiling cases. The first step in DNA profiling is to procure relevant DNA samples. Only a small number of cells from a person's skin or the root of hair or from bodily fluids like blood, saliva, or semen is needed to build a unique DNA profile. DNA is often discovered at crime scenes during police investigations, after which persons of interest may be asked to voluntarily provide their DNA sample. If there is a strong body of evidence against a suspect, the courts can order them to provide a DNA sample. Once forensic scientists obtain a sample, they extract the DNA from cells in bodily fluids or tissues and copy it. They then separate the copied markers using a process known as capillary electrophoresis. This enables them to identify distinct markers and the number of repeats for different markers in each allele. The forensic scientists read this data using a chart called an electropherogram, which plots fragments of DNA and shows how many repeats there are for each marker and where they occur. Based on this chart, forensic scientists generate a DNA profiling definition that law enforcement professionals can read. This definition consists of a simple list of numbers indicating how many repeats units are in each allele of 20 marker points throughout the person's genome. Examples of types of DNA profiling cases. The first recognized case of DNA profiling in the forensic science community was that of Colin Pitchfork.
So we found a case which is the Colin Pitchfork case. So how Colin Pitchfork was first murderer convicted using DNA fingerprinting after killing 2 girls. So as what you see in the image above, that is a Colin Pitchfork. So Colin Pitchfork was found guilty of raping and murdering the 2 15-year-olds from Leicestershire, and he was the first person in the world to be caught using DNA fingerprinting technology. The world's first murderer who was convicted using DNA profiling was in Enderby in Leicestershire between 1986 and 1988. So it was the investigation into the rape and murder of two schoolgirls, which is Linda Mann in 1983 and Dawn Ashworth in 1986, as what you see in the image shown above. So now let's discuss how was Colin Pitchfork caught. So the prime suspect in the double rape and murder investigation was a boy named Richard Buckland. He confessed to Dawn Ashworth's murder but not to the murder of Linda Mann. So as what you see, that Linda Mann in the girl from left and Dawn Ashworth which is in the right, were raped and murdered by Colin Pitchfork when they were 15 years old. Police decided to use DNA profiling, thinking it would prove him guilty of both cases. But when Buckland's DNA didn't match with the killer's DNA, police launched a manhunt and blood samples of 5,000 local men were taken. So Buckland became the first suspect cleared using DNA profiling. This is what happened. So the actual killer, Colin Pitchfork, asked a friend to provide a blood sample on his behalf during the testing. So he was finally caught after the cover-up was released. So Pitchfork's DNA matched that of the killer and he was sentenced to life imprisonment in 1988. So that image shown above is that is a short sequence of chemical building blocks in DNA are tested one at a time to give a pattern completely unique to a particular person. So how did DNA profiling happen? So in the 19th century, DNA was first discovered by Swiss chemist Friedrich Mischer from pus-on bandages. But by the 1940s, scientists realized that DNA contained the code for life and then discovered how genetic information was stored in DNA and transferred to the next generation. In 1984, Sir Alec Jeffreys discovered the variations in DNA unique to each individual. So he discovered the technique of genetic fingerprinting or genetic profiling in a laboratory in the Department of Genetics at the University of Leicester. So that picture is Sir Alec Jeffreys. So he is a British geneticist who invented DNA fingerprinting and DNA profiling. So in 1986, police asked Sir Alec Jeffreys for help in finding a man who had raped and killed two girls. So DNA test exonerated the primary suspect. Through a genetic dragnet, police found the perpetrator, which is Colin Pitchfork, who gave himself away when he asked a friend for a substitute blood sample. So speaking on genetic profiling, Professor Sir Alec Jeffreys said, "It does not solve crimes, but it establishes whether a sample X comes from person Y. So it is then up to the court to interpret that in the context of other evidence in a criminal case." So the original DNA profiling technology used to catch Pitchfork is now largely obsolete. The techniques have been speeded up and simplified. So next is what is the use of DNA profiling in the criminal justice system? So these examples highlight some of the primary uses of DNA profiling in today's legal system. So the process can be used to identify potential suspects and link suspects to a crime, proving they were at a certain place. So DNA profiling also enhances the criminal system's accuracy. Eyewitness accounts are unreliable, particularly in high-pressure situations during the commission of a crime. So the first recognized case of DNA profiling in the forensic science community was that of Colin Pitchfork in 1986. The girl named Dawn Ashworth was sexually assaulted and murdered in Leicester, England. A man named Richard Buckland. So Richard Buckland confessed to the crime, but police were not confident that he was the killer. So they approached Alec Jeffreys, a genetic professor at the University of Leicester, for help. So Sir Alec Jeffreys had previously discovered that each person's DNA exhibited distinct patterns that could be used to distinguish one person's DNA from another's. So Jeffreys compared DNA from the crime to Buckland's, and as police had suspected, it did not match. So Sir Alec Jeffreys went to analyze over 4,000 DNA samples voluntarily provided by men in Leicester area who wanted to clear their names and help find the perpetrator. So still no match was found. Then one man confessed that he had been paid to provide a false sample on behalf of the actual perpetrator. So a man named Colin Pitchfork. So when Pitchfork DNA was checked, it matched the DNA at the crime scene. So he was sentenced to life in prison in January of 1988. So that would be all. That is the end of our discussion, sir. Thank you.